Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me those ears. And if you're watching this on video, I appreciate those beautiful eyeballs of yours. Today, I want to talk about status quo bias and creating a sense of urgency. Now, you've heard this before, but I kind of want to go through it, maybe give you some new ideas on how to approach this state of mind. Now, when a customer doesn't want to buy, one of the reasons may be they're in that status quo bias. We've all heard this. Status quo bias simply means the customer prefers not to change than to change and put in all the time, money, and effort. So our job in selling is to really create this sense of urgency. You've heard the phrase, we got to make sure that the pain of the same is greater than the pain of change. Let me say that slowly because it's such an important phrase. We need to show the customer that the pain of staying the same is greater than the actual pain of change. Because they're looking at change and goes, oh, it's too painful to change. But if we can show them that the pain of staying the same, doing nothing, is worse than actually changing, is greater than change, then the customer is more motivated to want to move off this status quo, do nothing, inert state that they're currently in. In many cases, a lot of deals get stuck in the pipeline because the customer simply doesn't see the value in changing. So what can you do to push the customer past status quo and create that pain of the same being greater than the pain of change? Well, the first thing you can do is maybe use ROI calculators. One method I like to use in the past was return on investment calculators. That is where you show the customer, say, look, Mr. Customer, if you bought our system today and you replaced it with the existing system or it's a new system altogether, I said, the investment is going to cost you, let's say, I don't know, $50,000. You'll get your money back after 18 months based on our calculations. Let us walk you through how we arrived at that number. So in other words, after a year and a half, you're showing the customer, you're going to get your money back, and there's a lot of upside after that. So that's one way of doing it. Another metric I like to use is break-even point, right? Similar to return on investment, a break-even point is when you're going to actually break even, as the phrase suggests. In other words, if I invested $50,000, how fast, how soon will I get that $50,000 back? And you show the customer, says, look, after a year, you'll get your $50,000 back. And then after that, it's all upside because you still own the system. It's paid for itself. So that's one strategy you can use. ROI calculators and break-even points. These are both in the same family of using metrics. The other thing we can talk about is shrinking market share. In other words, show the customer that by not having certain features, functionalities, or services, that they're actually losing market share to their competitor. Ooh, that scares them a bit, if you know what I mean. So find a way to quantify that. Show them that they have to remain competitive if they want to win. Another way of creating urgency is to show them, similar to the break-even points and ROI, show them that you're able to reduce their cost, their operational cost. By having this system in place, you'll be able to reduce your cost by X amount of dollars. Then you tie that into their ability to make more money, profitability, which means with that profitability, they can go to the market with better prices, be more competitive, and not lose market share. You see how I tied that back to market share? So you can do the same thing here. Find ways to tell them, say, look, you're going to save money, and with that money that you're going to save, you can be more competitive in the marketplace, or you can hire more people and actually go after more market share and just grow your business. Another one is operational cost, is opportunity cost. Operational cost, it's what it's costing me to run my business. An opportunity cost, ooh, these are hard to calculate, but very important. An opportunity cost is basically, look, if you don't have this in place, if you don't have this system in place, you're going to miss out on this amount of business. This is business that you're losing because you simply don't have ABC functionality or services that the customers want. So this is big. Now, you're starting to get the idea that if I can start really quantifying, that being the key word, not qualifying, talking about things in terms of you're going to get more market share, you're going to reduce your cost. That's qualifying. Quantifying is actually putting a number on it, driving down and really making it tangible, very concrete for the customer. You're saying, if you have this, if you don't have this, if you don't have this, this is what you're going to miss out on. And then you start adding these numbers up. And again, the more you can quantify the value of what they're missing out on, the more likely they are to, feel that sense of urgency to want to make that change. Last one, remind them that in this market, it's hyper competitive. So all these things are necessary. In other words, they got to get the cost down. They got to position themselves to grab more market share. They got to have competitive pricing. All these things matter for them to be competitive in the market. So again, the more you can quantify, almost bundle this bag of pain, so to speak. I hate to say it that way, but it's like bundling a bag of pain. And when you bundle that bag of pain, the customer goes, oh, now the pain of the same, in other words, doing what I've always done, it truly is greater than the pain of change. I need to make the change. And the best of the best salespeople know how to position that bag of pain in order to create that sense of urgency that customers will respond to. Try it. Let me know what you think. And that is it for the Sales Influence Podcast. Leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you're listening or watching. Please, I want to hear what you have to say on this subject. And after that, as always, let me recommend that you check out the Sales Velocity Academy. We keep adding new courses every month, new master classes every month. So check out the Sales Velocity Academy at salesvelocityacademy.com. And on that note, this is Victor Antonio, always reminding you that selling ain't hard when you know how to bag up the pain, position it with the customer, and you know how. Take care. Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.